What's going on, guys? Andrew Piluk Hockey here, back again with another video. And again, sorry for the backdrop here. I'm going to be purchasing something or moving my location again, but this is a temporary spot. But today we're talking about Nick Robertson of the Toronto Maple Leafs, their best prospect in their system, one of the most exciting young forwards to come into the league in the next couple of years. And this video is going to be whether or not he can make the Leafs next year. Now, here's the thing. If you're a fan of any other NHL team, you guys are probably wondering, why are you only talking about the Leafs? Well, there's tons of content coming about other prospects and other players around the league that I really like, that I want to discuss in more detail. So if you have somebody that you'd like to recommend, make sure to put him in the description or in the comment section. Hell, if there's female players that you like, put them down there too. I love just watching hockey. I love watching highlights and talking about certain players, so it really doesn't matter to me. And of course, we're stuck inside right now, so videos are on the way. Trust me, for all NHL teams, make sure to subscribe if you're new. But I want to talk about Nick Robertson, and the reason why this is becoming a topic at hand, and my buddy Downtown Stephen Brown talked about it. Make sure to go and subscribe to Downtown Sports. It should be linked to my channel currently on my recommended channel list. He was talking about how Nick Robertson can make the Leafs, and a quote that came up, and you know, it's a quote that I seen as well, and I'm sure all Leaf fans got excited about, and that was that Kyle Dubas regrets not letting Nick Robertson get in a few exhibition games at the beginning of the season. That's going to be inevitably canceled very soon, but he was regretting not letting Nick Robertson get a couple reps in because they underestimated him. They knew he was good, but how good was he really? He was a second-round pick, and we'll get to that in a second. But Kyle Dubas said he's going to give Nick Robertson every chance to make the Leafs next season. And listen, that's exciting because that's another young forward that the Leafs could roll with, and it saves them a ton of money, especially if they end up going down in cap or if it comes into being a flat cap. So let's just do a little bit of a background on Nick Robertson. So his real name's Nicholas Robertson, but everybody just calls him Nick as far as I know. He's 18. He's an American-born player, 5'9", 161 pounds. So I seen a description of people saying he's too short, but he's kind of built like Nylander in the sense that he's got a bit of weight to him. So he's got a bit of a mix of Marner and Nylander in him when it comes to his size and weight. And you know what? The thing is I'm sick and tired of the argument of people saying, you know, small players can't make it to the NHL, because there's a lot of smaller guys out there that play with a lot of heart and a lot of aggression and are able to move in and out of defenders or at least avoid contact. Like, people are not calling Mitch Marner a weak guy. Like, he blocks shots, he gets into the corners, he still does his thing. Look at Torrey Krug on Boston. He's not the biggest guy, but he lays people out. Trevor Moore did it to Zdeno Chara in the playoffs last year. The small guys still have a bit of weight to them and can do their thing as long as they grow into their body. They might not be physical right away, but they might grow into that. So it's something that you can learn over time. Look at Kasperi Kapanen. He's turning into a feisty guy, and he never really had that in him before. Everybody thought he was just, you know, a soft player. So he can grow into that. Nick Robertson could have, you know, get some more physicality, even though he doesn't really have to be honest with you. 2019 second round pick, obviously by the Toronto Maple Leafs, number 53 overall. A lot of people called this pick an absolute steal. The Leafs were able to get a guy like Nick Robertson in the second round, and like I said, he was a little bit underestimated. Now, you can see his point totals have progressively got better in the OHL. In the 17-18 season, he joined the Peterborough Petes. In 62 games played, he had 33 points. Then in the 18-19 season, he had 55 points in 54 games, including 27 goals. This year, before the season was canceled, he was on pace for over 60 goals. You heard that right. Uncharted territory at that age. Well, some players have done it. It's just, you know, he was doing it at like an insane level. Like, in 46 games played, mind you, he was injured at parts of this season. 46 games played, 86 points, okay? And he had 55 goals and 31 assists, and he also missed time because of the World Juniors as well. I believe it was a mix of injury and World Juniors. So let's say he plays the full season, the season doesn't get canceled, he's getting over 60 goals, no problem. Like, we're talking close to probably 65 goals. There was like 9 games in a row, or even more of a stretch in the OHL season, where he had a goal in every single game, or multiple goals. He scores at an elite level. His shot is insane. If you haven't watched Nick Robertson highlights, go ahead and watch them. I can't post them in these videos because YouTube will 1,000,000% take that down. I'm not allowed to post highlights on this channel. That's why I never do that. I wish I could. It would make these videos so much more fun and informative. But he's got a really good shot. His release is insane. He's got speed. He's got hands. There's actually a couple quotes on this website, and this is from EliteProspects.com. He's extremely hard on the forecheck, relentless in puck pursuit, so he doesn't give up on a play, and a big-time trash talker, so he's got that little bit of a pest in him, so that's good. The Leafs need a little more of that intensity, and that came from EPRinkside.com in 2019. We've got McKean's Hockey 2019, and we know that that's a pretty big site for prospects and development. He's an offensive dynamo with a very high level of individual skill. His feet are quick and constantly in motion, and his hands can keep, so very good. Future considerations also said a shifty player whose puck skills and smarts make up for his smaller frame. So while he might be lacking in terms of size, he's still doing everything else at a high level. So that's really, really interesting, and I'm excited for that. But Luke Fox from Sportsnet, although I don't agree with everything that he says, he's very intelligent, but I don't agree with everything that he says, and he's just an excellent writer. I wish I could be half as good as Luke Fox when it comes to writing, so no disrespect at all. It's just we have some disagreements, and I'm sure he would disagree with a lot of stuff I say too. But he was basically talking about in a really good article titled Quick Shifts, Maple Leafs will face tricky Nick Robertson decision, because if you guys know, there's a weird rule between the OHL and the NHL where at a certain age he can't come up. So I will say this to you guys. Now, the prize Maple Leafs prospect will be 19 by October. He'll be too young to join the AHL Marlies. A 5'9", 164 pounds, like I mentioned before. He'll perhaps be too slight to make the leap all the way to the NHL, in which I say I think he will make the leap. But basically, the thing is you can't. At a certain age, the NHL and OHL don't allow you to make the jump into the... earlier I messed it up. The OHL and AHL have a weird rule. You can't go from the OHL to the AHL at a certain age. But, you know, you can stay in the OHL and then make the leap to the Toronto Maple Leafs the next season, but you can't go to the AHL. It's weird. There's some weird rule there. I've talked about it in other videos, but let's just put it lightly. He can't go to the AHL this upcoming season. He can go to the NHL. It's so weird, I know. But why would the NHL Toronto Maple Leafs want him to play in the OHL again? His development is already where they need it to be. He will absolutely dominate the OHL again. This is a Mitch Marner situation. Now, Nick Robertson, who knows if he'll ever be as good as Mitch Marner. But if he can be 75%, even 70% of what Mitch Marner is, we've got a really, really talented hockey player coming to this Maple Leaf squad. Now, I do believe he could find himself on the third line, but do the Toronto Maple Leafs want to try him there? Do they want to allow him to make this team? It seems like Dubas is all in on trying it, but whether or not he's able to make that jump, he's going to have a really good training camp come September and October. He's going to get those 9 games. I think for sure he's going to play in those 9 games, and whether or not he impresses enough for the Leafs to keep him there is up to him. But I think that he will impress. I mean, the guy is just very shifty. He's skilled. If you watch his highlights, there's no denying his shot. It doesn't matter what league you put him in, that puck is going in the net. If you give him the space, like if his teammates can create space for him and he creates space himself, it's going to go in. NHL goalies are going to be scared of that shot. It's lethal. He is a guy, and I'm going to put it out there right now, I think he makes the jump, and I actually think he scores 20 goals in his rookie year. You got to look at guys like Connor Brown, who just, banged and crashed his way to the net and popped 20 goals. Zach Hyman, same thing. Janssen, Kapanen. These guys do not have the same type of skill as Nick Robertson. Nick Robertson is a much more skilled player than those guys, and I think that he can score at least 20 goals. And honestly, people might crap on me for that early prediction, but I think he makes the jump and scores 20 goals and will bounce between the third and second line. Like, I really do believe he has that chance. If the Leafs need to save money, his entry-level contract will be dirt cheap on their cap. They need a guy who's that cheap that can give them production. If he can put up 30 or 40 points, which I think he can, the Leafs will be laughing because that's all they need. And then if he takes another step and gets 50 points or 60 points the next year, then you have another star on your hands on the Leafs. And star, because 60 points is pretty damn good for the NHL. But do you keep him in the OHL? It doesn't make sense. Why don't you, if he doesn't make the Leafs, I wonder if they consider sending him to another professional league overseas. Do what Austin Matthews did. He was in Zurich, right? He played for Zurich. the Lions. Like, are they going to do that with Nick Robertson? I think the Leafs are going to hope that Nick Robertson puts on a little bit of weight and keeps developing his skills over this quarantine period and the rest of the summer, and then shows up to camp in elite shape. Listen, people are stuck inside. If you've got gym equipment, you could be busting your ass, and guess what? I need to start doing that. I need to start working out. I'm not going to the NHL, but I need to work my ass off. I'm not going to lie to you guys, but that's besides the point. Nobody cares about what I have to think in terms of working out. But please, I advise you, go and watch Nick Robertson highlights. This guy has got an elite shot. He's going to be dangerous in the NHL. And I honestly do believe, I think I've said I honestly way too many times, but I do believe that he will make the Toronto Maple Leafs. There's going to be spots open. I believe that, oh my God, I got to stop saying that. I think that Andreas Johnsson and Kerfoot are two options to get traded. If you do that, you hold on to Mikheyev, you bring up Robertson, you have Engvall there again. Maybe Adam Brooks fills into the fourth line. My buddy Downtown Sports loves Adam Brooks. I'm a fan of him. I just don't know if he'll have a full-time spot. You could always bring back Freddie Gauthier at a cheap contract. Joe Thornton could come to the Toronto Maple Leafs on a really cheap deal. That's an option. You also could have Jason Spezza come back. He wants to be back and money's not an issue for him. He can play that fourth line role. There's spots that you could bring in. And don't forget, Alexander Barabanov, I believe, is a guy that the Leafs are interested in. He could come in at a one-year cheap deal like Mikheyev, and you've got a roster full of really talented players, and the Leafs will be at a cheaper lower cost in which they can spend more money on their blue line. If you trade guys like Kerfoot and Johnsson, you're freeing up money to go after a big defenseman, to, even if you have to include Travis Dermott. The Leafs can really have a deep blue line because they can go and acquire one or two pieces that are physical stay-at-home defensemen to offset the offense. So there's a lot of really good options that the Leafs can have for next season, and Nick Robertson is going to be one of them. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. Join the squad, and hopefully you guys will be back for my next video or stream. Peace.